Peace, family, peace. And we are now live. We're getting ready to have an amazing show tonight. I want everybody to get comfortable. We're not gonna be on here too long. We're gonna be here for about an hour, but we're gonna revisit one of the best lectures I've had the pleasure of watching. I first seen this lecture on VHS. I seen it again on YouTube when YouTube came around. But I'm about to bring my guest on in a second. She's a living legend. For those of you who got tickets to the Gathering of the Masses or purchased a live stream, you will be able to see her there. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to bring her on in a second. I want people to start getting in the room. Let's get to a quick commercial. As you shout to Black Dot. Let me show your son. I'm gonna show this again. Shout to Black Dot. Let me show your son. He made this merch for the conference. We're celebrating Gathering of the Masters. It's about to go down big, August 10th and 11th in Stonecrest, Georgia. My guest tonight is one of the featured speakers at the conference. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm gonna put the link to the live stream in the chat. But we real excited over here. We getting ready. We real excited. I got the masters with me. Let's get this commercial going real quick, and I'm gonna be right back in about 1 minute, family.
Yo. I fought plenty battles, caught many arrows, flossed plenty apparel, resembling the pharaohs, cemented in the gravel, extensive in my travels, not to mention, ascension is my cattle. Cash cow, we milking it, laugh now, we killing it, last round, we still in it, axe round, we healing shit, hands down, we killing it, no pass down, it's silk in this, pack your bags, take this pilgrimage, guaranteed to be epic like Gilgamesh, gilded flesh and shields with crests. I'ma have to kill you if I reveal the rest. All I know is when life try you, you better kill that test. That's the only real that the real respect. Niggas went from dealing death to flipping Morse to heal the flesh. That's the real adept. That's the illest flex. That reveals what's next.
My investors don't need to be angels. They could be the archetypes of the darkest type. Archangels who are dark and mango, like Tony Starks, and monsters like Thanos. Bangles need to be strangled and quantum entangled. And them carrots that sponsors are dangle. Only built for these bust down Cuban links. Only fans.
Shout to Red and Blue for the track in the beginning. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the platform for the first time live, Dr. Jewel Pookrum. Dr. Jewel Pookrum, are you there?
Yes. How are you tonight?
Hey, I'm feeling great. I have you on the show tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Gathering of the Masses.
Yes.
Talking with you over the phone. Just every time I talk to you over the phone, I learn something new. So I'm just excited, and I look forward to seeing you. And I look forward to revisiting one of the best lectures I ever seen, 7 Circuits of the Brain. We're revisiting it tonight. So I'm just happy to have this conversation with you tonight.
Okay, I'm honored. Thank you.
Indeed.
You know, it's a little late for me. I rise with the sun and set with the sun. So,
Indeed.
Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to be about an hour. I'm not going to keep you long at all, Elder. We're going to be about an hour. And then for those who want to see Jewel Pookrum again, she's going to be at the Gathering of the Masters, and she's going to have her products and services. She'll explain more thoroughly. I know she got this brain program that a lot of people be talking about. That's amazing. So she'll be explaining all that. She's going to be vending. So shout out to everybody who got their tickets. It's going to be an amazing event. But Dr. Jewel Pookrum, let's get to this 7 circuits of the brain. Talk to me about the brain. Is it's an amazing piece of technology in this realm. And this one of the words you described in the lecture, you described this realm as a relative realm. It's a holographic realm. It's based on our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. And the brain is amazing technology, way better than anybody could ever, Apple could ever invent, or Microsoft, or anything like that. Let's talk about this brain. 7 circuits. What do you mean? What do you mean by 7 circuits of the brain? What exactly does that mean, Dr. Jewel Pookrum?
Well, the architecture and the anatomy of the brain is so intriguing. And if anyone has the opportunity to spend some time with it anatomically, physically, they'll see that it is a divine creation of light
Mm-hmm.
in the third dimension. So the brain is amazing for what it does and how it coordinates everything in the body relative to what it's composed of, photons and
Mm-hmm.
water. We can't even perceive in our consciousness, which also is not physical, but the brain makes it a physical reality through what? Chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, understanding that we're dealing with all these different modalities with something that maybe weigh 5 to 7 pounds and primarily is 70% water. See,
Mm.
that's awesome.
A lot,
And
lot of
it
water.
it's yeah, and it's allowing you to basically uh think in terms of space and cosmic time. That's one of the problems that we're having here, because I've been spending a lot of uh investigation and study and contemplation on the dis-ease of death. And that is what I'm going to talk about in detail when I have the privilege of speaking to everyone on August 11th.
Oh,
You know,
the
people,
disease of death?
yes, that's what it
That's
is, a
awesome.
disease.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is not anything that we're supposed to literally experience as immortal beings.
Right, right, right.
And so, how does that happen? And obviously, it's been going on for in artificial time thousands and thousands and thousands of years because we lost real consciousness, that is our understanding of who and what we really are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm really want to go back and visit. So back to your original question
Mm-hmm.
about the seven circuits of the brain,
Mm-hmm.
there are basically seven major areas or structures of the brain, and each one of them do different things chemically and also have different information, all transmitted to and through our genes to allow the muscles, the organs, etc., to perform certain functions. And so the information is distributed to the organs and throughout the body via the circulation of the blood and through the what we call peripheral nervous system. But the brain, which is in the skull, is amazing, and it has smaller brains distributed throughout the body.
Mm.
So, we know about the brain in the stomach, the
Mm-hmm.
brain in the heart, and
Mm-hmm.
also, yeah, we have the brain in the genitalia. And very little is ever talked about these different hearts or different areas of the brain extension. Yeah, so you know, I'm concerned because when I made that original uh, disclosure, I call it, uh, decades ago, I was concerned about the fact that most of humanity was only using the brainstem and the lower segments of the brain. So we break it down where we have our reptilian brain, which is where most people still use the body through the what we call reptilian brain circuitry. Now, this is very important to understand is that our brain is a evolving biological system that has based on the neurologic circuitry of the what we call primitive and lower life forms on this planet. So the
Mm-hmm.
first circuit being one of the lowest life forms of neurologic tissue is the reptilian brain. And
Mm-hmm.
over 30% of the population here on Earth does everything through their reptilian brain. So they actually uh, act like, live like, and think like reptiles. Okay, and that has never been the actual destiny of a human or should I say, my language wants to really get very, very detailed here, because I will talk about the fact that we have to first of all understand that we are force fields, and at the moment, as a force field, we have centered ourselves in a biological system known as a human body. And that human body is mediated through a sophisticated wiring system known as the brain and its peripheral nervous system, associated with its arterial system, its immune system, its muscular system, its skeletal system, etc. So when I talk about the seven circuits of the brain, we're talking about those areas of the brain that intentionally, neurologically, energetically, chemically transmit information to these other structures within what we call our physical body. But you literally, as a living force field at this time in the third dimension, are mediating your capacity to create in this dimension. But this is a very small aspect of what life is about in the cosmos. And people are beginning to finally understand that having a physical body, being able to utilize it effectively and efficiently, literally is a lesson that we as a force field have to master before we can go beyond what is known as the third dimension. And what's so awesome about the brain, since you are asking me about the circuits, I haven't even begun to discuss how do we think? What is it that we image? How do we use geometry to access and be able to create and interact with the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension? The brain that sits in our head, our skull, actually can mediate up to 13 dimensions of reality before you lose your physicality. Yeah. So you sitting in your chair
Yeah.
right now, I can see you. You can be in the 13th dimension. Okay.
Yeah.
Very much so, doing all kind of things. And to a person who can only use the physical eye through what we call the reptilian brain, will be looking at your body, wondering what you're doing. Are
Right.
you, yeah, but you're in a whole different dimension, totally functional, creating, existing, communicating, etc. Because the brain in of itself, as you know it physically, can interact up to the 18th dimension there. 13th, yeah, 18th dimension.
Mm.
So you asked me about the circuits. When I talked about this decades ago, I just really only mentioned the seven circuits that most people still aren't familiar with.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I see you you're thinking, uh, but let me just give you some information. So,
Right.
if the individuals followed your directions, you did share with them that they should really review the seventh circuit of the brain lecture before they tuned in tonight, right? Did you?
Uh, well, yeah, I told them you was gonna revisit them. So some people I didn't tell them they have to, but yeah, I'm sure they're gonna go back and watch it after this too.
Oh, good, because that's so necessary. Because when we all get together next month, I really want them to understand how
Got you.
they have created the philosophy, the phenomena of death to their physical body that was never created to experience that. Isn't that something? I mean, this is the death of so many awesome people that I've sat with, learned from, that I've watched, etc. They have left their physical bodies, dropped it like it was a piece of, uh, used clothing, and not recognizing that how we leave this dimension up to the 18th dimension is that everything is literally returned back to what it is, pure photonic energy, and more, to be directed by the focus that we hold in our mind to geometrically image where it is and what we want to be in the other dimensions, and all of the photons composing the physical body will follow suit.
Mm.
And that is a whole technology that now is available for people to learn. So you kind of mentioned what I had been doing since I made that lecture. The seven circuits of the brain has been further developing and utilizing the sacred geometry that is needed to maintain the proper cosmic shape and function of the brain, as well as its proper neurochemical connections to each of its own segments. And so, if you notice, at least, correct me if I'm incorrect, but the discussion now and the promotion of geometry has really fallen almost into silence. But it is so necessary for us in our existence, and what we call the third dimension momentarily has to be guided by what has been previously labeled as sacred geometry. So I've been noticing that some of the movie stars now are coming into the knowledge of that and talking about the tree of life, and they're going on and on. But those structures made by what? Photons. You have to
Mm-hmm.
see that everything is a photonic pattern of how light travels in these dimensions. It's in a geometric order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when people don't recognize that, well, they don't have the keys to be able to enter into the dimensions they may be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you can
Yeah.
actually, you want me to finish? No.
Good. Good. Good.
Oh,
I
wh-
actually.
okay. When individual takes upon themselves to literally polish and train the neurons that is the transmitters of the photons in their brain to immediately assume particular cosmic geometric configurations, the brain can then interact with any form of geometry it may become aware of in sign, by sign, should I say by sound, by image, by shape, by frequency and texture. The brain, once it knows that geometric pattern of how those photons are moving, you immediately communicate with that object, and whatever information is there, whatever information you want to know, you can access it on request, which is just a thought. And this is how a lot of the what I call sci-fi and higher frequency movies, where they're showing people are disappearing and they're levitating and they're able to walk through walls and project different wavelengths of what? Of photons of light through their body, through their eyes, through their mouth, is because the brain is able to change its shape and function, these circuits of the brain, and be able to emit the type of photons that they direct through the geometric pattern that those photons have been given directives to follow. It's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Truly. Dr.
So,
Pookrum does no.
yeah.
Good. 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 I didn't know. Go ahead. I thought you was gonna pause. Go ahead, Dr. Pookrum.
No, I was just saying, so the seven circuits of the brain that I talked about decades ago was like the baby steps to familiarizing us as a species about how our brain is set up
Mm-hmm.
based on all the other life forms around us. Okay. The reptilian brain, which is the first circuit, the second circuit being our insect brain, the third circuit being our bird brain, avian brain, the fourth circuit literally being the mammalian brain, that is, the frogs, and well, not the frogs, but the turtles. Well, really not the turtles, the cats, the dogs, those red-blooded animals. Then we have the actual human aspect of the brain, starts with the cerebrum, etc., and moves forward up until our forehead. So therefore, we have basically 7 circuits that are physical within our skull, and then the 8th circuit really is an energy field above the head that, unless you've developed at least visual acuity up to the 5th circuit, you can't see it.
Mm.
And so all of these circuits of the brain have information relative to the lower organisms that depend on that circuit as their entire brain system. So whatever these lower organisms can do, the reptiles, the insects, the birds, the lower mammals, we have that capacity already programmed in the brain tissue, which is then also mirrored and programmed in the DNA in every cell of our body, that with the proper consciousness pass through the brain as a whole, that makes the chemical connection and communication environment, the tissues will do what the information in the DNA is encoded or directed to do. So that's why some people can hop like a frog. We're finally getting to the point, for example, in the avian brain, that now people can just fly. They can just think, I'm levitating with direction and force, and they just fly. So it's so amazing now because they're making movies now, commercials even, etc., where people are flying. And so I don't know how many people have been able to think that this is definitely showing us that at least we now have access to and have learned how to utilize the bird brain in our own brain to execute this kind of behavior. So, when you think about it, all these uh, thousands of years, people were saying that we can't fly, da da da, whatever else. And of course, finally, we got the Wright brothers, and then go on to Boeing and all these things that show us that if we put the force in a container with some wings and then learn how to navigate it in air, that we can get in it and fly. But this is the new phenomenon now, that we don't have to do anything but just think using the avian brain and do just like the birds do. They just look at you, and what do? They turn their back. See, you have to recognize how profound that is. They always turn when they're ready to fly their back to you. Yeah. And then
Wow.
they just take off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so watch the birds the next time that they're around you, how they actually just lift off. They just lift off.
Mm-hmm.
Then their arms go out or their wings go out, etc. And then they have what? Hairs extended from their so-called wings to manage the air and to captivate it, to use it as a literal medium, a medium that they actually can navigate through. Yeah, so you have to understand now. Listen to what I said. Those are hairs on their wings. Those are the same cells that's in the top of your head and in your skin, under your arm, your groin, etc., that when properly stimulated now become uniformed and will hold the air to such an extent that it becomes like literally a platform for you that you can navigate. And so that's what the birds do. And we talk about that being feathers, but most people don't recognize that feathers come from the same cells and are the same as hair, but under a different direction. So, what comes to me is like an incredible cosmetologist that's making a wonderful hairstyle. And so, with the media that they can use to reshape your hair, to make it look different, to give it a different shape, to hold its shape and form in space based on what that cosmetologist is seeing in their own brain, you get this incredible hairstyle. Yeah. So
Mm,
that's what the birds are able to do. That's, again, the use of third circuit, what I call third circuit creativity.
mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Dr. Pookrum, how important is animals in terms of us? You know, they say we're entering the age of Aquarius where we're going to realize who we are and we're raising our consciousness. How important is animals in terms of us realizing who exactly we are on this planet?
Well, first of all, if you remember what I've just been talking about for the last 2 minutes, their brain is the foundation for your brain. Without their brain, you don't have a human brain. So the human brain is based on the collection of the stacking of all the lower life forms on this planet until those brains fuse and then cultivate themselves so that you and your consciousness and your capacity to utilize photon energy can then now take on a body that can do whatever you can think. And so that's why they're so important, because without them, you can't have a human brain unless the lower organisms, life forms on this planet, have contributed their nervous system for you to develop the area of the brain that can handle the thoughts of a human. That's how important it is. So that's why we have the what they call them, the whisperers, horse
Mm,
whisperers, dog whisperers, etc. Because
right.
these are people who are very comfortable in using the same nervous system of the animal. That's why they can communicate with them and, connect with them, even though the language is different, whatever. But the animal immediately surrenders to and follows the so-called thoughts or words from the human, because the human is using the same brain that the animal has in its head when interacting with the animal. So that's why it's so important. And to be able to acquire the capabilities of the lower animals as part of our natural existence on planet Earth and a natural behavior for us as humans when needed is so important, because the animals teach us how to use the qualities that they have already embedded in their brain. How do we use the muscles like a bird? How do we use working together, for example? I talked about that. Our second circuit, like ants. We're having a very hard time working together in a group like the ants do. The ants have no problem with sharing space with another ant, 100 ants, 1,000 ants to get a job done. And still in all, humans, because the brain is so misshapen and does not have the structure naturally that it should have relative to the cosmic structure of how energy should be flowing through our brain, which is called a thought. We basically don't understand how to use these segments of the brain that have all these programs in it given to us, modeled from the lower life forms. But again, the anatomy of these areas of the brain have become distorted and malaligned because of what they talk about all the time: trauma. Trauma. That is, the individual has not been able to observe and experience, hear and experience, feel and experience, and understand how they created it and what the wisdom, the lesson is from the experience, and be able to utilize the energy received from that experience to become a more expanded and wiser human. And so every time we, declare victim, and you didn't have anything to do with this, and no, I can't change it, you immediately lock yourself in to the area of the brain that obviously is not developed so that you can absorb that energy, analyze it, conclude what it means to you in your life, and be able to channel the energy absorbed from it to move to the next highest activity that you select. It's not happening. And so, therefore, every time you say no to an experience, just, in common terms, the brain loses its ideal shape and function. So, can you imagine all these people that have said no to thousands and thousands of experiences?
Right.
And so, therefore, the brain is locked and malshapen because the energy locked into the area of the brain that processes that experience cannot utilize the energy, can't transform it, can't absorb it, and then can't create from it. So that's what's happening on a neurobiological level in a brain of a person who says no to an experience, that they didn't create it, that they didn't have anything to do with it, that they're a victim. That's what happens to the victims. They don't evolve. They're not cultivating themselves to become greater than they were prior to the experience. So they're locked in, and the brain loses its shape and function, and therefore the chemistry from that does what? Destroys tissue.
Mm.
The tissue begins, yeah, that this is how you die, from saying no to your experiences. Check
Yeah.
that out.
Wow. Wow.
Right. Instead of accepting them. Yeah. And learning from every aspect that it offers you. And then taking that information and being able to use it for your next level of consciousness and the experience that you desire to have. Yeah.
Dr. Pookrum, in terms of sacred geometry, you talked about sacred geometry and how important it is. Um, when we're in terms of matter, and sacred geometry is a foundation of how matter is formed. In terms of the dimensions that we could travel to, does each dimension does have a different sacred geometrical shape that kind of identifies it with that dimension? Like
No
maybe if we,
question. That
y-
that is how you enter into each dimension, by its geometric form and flow of the photons that sustain that dimension. Everything is made from photons when we talk about the subatomic level of mass. Okay. And your capacity to understand that geometry is the language, literally, of Mother Nature, the language of, quote, God, divinity in these dimensions that we can identify. So from the third to the 18th dimension, you have geometry that is directing the flow of the photons to make those realities. And when you don't have a relationship with geometry, just like, you can't read English or any language if you don't know the ABCs of the language, the primal structures that form the word, that form the sentence, and the meaning of those letters, those words. It doesn't make sense to you. And that's what's happening here on planet Earth. People don't recognize that everything has a geometric signature, and
what
it's constantly emitting energy. Yeah.
Dr. Pookrum, what would be the best geometric signature to allow to direct the flow of photons to the earth realm, to the 3D realm?
It's many geometric patterns that do that already.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so when the brain becomes balanced, that is, where every segment of the brain now has free communication with each other, you'll be able to sit in any place and see the geometry just pour all over you.
Right.
We're constantly being bombarded with all type of geometric formations that are light. It's
Hmm.
energy in the photonic form, but most of us don't know what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that that's a universal language that we're constantly showered in, because again, we're been only to accept our reality from the first lower three circuits of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's what I've been talking about. You're either in the reptilian brain, you're in the insectoid brain, or you're in the bird brain. Yeah. And we get, again, hits, I call it, uh, and waves of the energy being given to us from our environment that can be processed by the fourth circuit of the brain, which is called the heart. And that's why, as I looked at how our lives have evolved through our language, we started talking about heartfelt experiences and speaking from the heart. And then we started using the word love, da 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 da, etc. But we're now talking about the energy that's being able to be perceived by the mammalian brain, the fourth circuit, and the sensation that it creates through the tissues. Yeah. So, in the more common sense, they want to refer to that energy as love. Okay. Yeah, but it's the life force. And so now people are talking about love, 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 and what they are sensating with. But again, that's fourth circuit, and you have at least four more circuits above that that you're supposed to activate, understand, create through before you have the great opportunity of directing your physical body as a mass of photons into whatever direction you want to move it into, known as your ascension. That's what we're supposed to accomplish in this dimension. Death is not the way that we leave here.
Mm. Dr. Pooper, I know we don't have much time tonight, so I definitely want to get to some questions from the people. I want to remind everybody, Dr. Pookrum will be live in Stonecrest, Georgia on August 10th. You could get your live stream ticket. I just posted the link in the chat. I mean, it's going to be amazing. The sister's going to be vending the entire weekend. I could just imagine what her talk is going to be dealing with, just based on what she talked about tonight. So I just put the link in the chat. But give me some questions, family. I don't want to keep the elder on here too late tonight. We're going to kick it for about 20 more minutes on here, but give me some questions. Once again, this is just a small taste of what the elder is going to be dropping on August 10th when she's live in Georgia. Family, you don't want to miss this. I advise everybody to watch this. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Dr. Pookrum, while the people get their questions together in the chat. Well, I see they started getting questions already. All right, I was gonna ask a question, but let me get to y'all. Call. I'm gonna allow y'all to ask the questions tonight. And shout out to shout out to Savannah. You got your live stream ticket. Shout out to Savannah. Let me get to some questions. Well, let me get this out the way. They want to know, how can they purchase your books, Dr. Pookrum?
Oh, okay. Well, they are ebooks primarily, and when I come there, you'll be able to get them easily as an ebook, etc. And normally, they also are available on Amazon and a couple of other vendors that you can get them. But when I get there, yeah, you can
Okay,
have as many as you like. Thank you.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right. They want to know, what is the difference between the dream world and the real world, Dr. Pookrum?
I love that question because there really isn't any. Okay. The key, there really isn't any. The same photons that create what you think is the real world is the same photons, that is energy granules, if you want to look at them that way, that also are being processed in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is allowing you to see, feel, smell, and taste just like in what you call real reality. The only difference is that it's only in the brain as opposed to where the photons all around you have been committed to and then flow through the geometry that you recognize as reality in your outer world to maintain and manifest itself. So the photons in your dream that look like a sweater or a shirt are the same photons in the sweater and shirt that's in your closet, but one is not in the third dimension, where in the dream world the third dimension is not present. You're not that those photons are not yet in the third dimension. But when they finally do fringe between what I call second and higher dimensions into the third world, or should I say third dimension, then we talk about it being what we call a lucid dream. And when you have lucid dreams, they do finally condense to become your reality. They do. So you might want to do some reading on that because it's very interesting, but you have to really have a basic foundation for understanding quantum physics and the uh, subatomic anatomy of what makes our world what it is, and the larger component of the subatomic world is light, known as photons.
Right, right. Oh yeah, let's get to this. Carlos Brown said, "Man, she just dropped some science in one breath." I'm telling you, right, Carlos? Listen, y'all, Dr. Jewel Pookrum ain't no joke. Make sure y'all get her books, and make sure y'all. Let me post the link once again. Make sure y'all do not miss the opportunity when she's going to be speaking in Georgia, man. I just posted a live stream link. Yeah, Dr. Pookrum ain't no joke. I'm glad I got her on the platform, and I know that the family's going to support her and show her the love that she truly deserves. Let's get to the next question. They want to know, Dr. Pookrum, what does a mirror do? What does a mirror do in this realm, in this dimension, Dr. Pookrum?
Well, a mirror is really interesting, very interesting, because it is a reflection of the photon activity moving through a selected geometric highway, literally. Okay, and when the energy frequencies of those photons reflected in the mirror increase in frequency, you really don't have a mirror anymore. You have what's known as a portal.
Mm.
And it turns into where you can actually go from one dimension to the next.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And so, again, that's something that isn't highly discussed, but
mm-hmm,
people always have a particular peculiar relationship with mirrors because they really are sensing that they are really looking at a dimensional reality of the same movement of the photons that is happening in the third dimension in another dimension that we basically don't accept as being another dimension. Most people don't accept any other dimensions other than what they think is the third dimension. So when people become more comfortable with fourth dimensional reality, fifth dimensional reality, they're really already experiencing it in the reflections of mirrors. But again, they just have not accepted that they're always in a multiple reality. And so until you can accept something, which then uses another part of the brain and can create a different chemistry from the brain into the bloodstream, you're not primed to go there. So if you've seen movies, etc., film strips that show a mirror and the person is looking in the mirror and projecting a thought pattern, etc., into the mirror, and the mirror doesn't become inhibitory for them to move into the mirror and out into a new reality. And I'm sure that most of us have actually seen that. Well, that really happens with the quality of thought that's emanated in the mind into space that has been energized by your willingness to move in a different space through the same geometry that you initially have been uh, focusing upon or perceiving. So, it's interesting. I could spend a whole lecture on uh, explaining to people, as I've been able to understand it, what mirrors are, but they are literally very thin gateways between dimensions, and depends on how you look into that mirror determines if that now becomes a gateway for the dimension with the same geometric configuration that you can just move into. So I
Mm.
hope that didn't get too perplexing, but yeah, that's
Nah,
what
Pookrum.
happens.
This channel's about that life, Dr. Pookrum. We love perplexing conversations. We love it. We love it. Yo, family, we don't have that much time tonight, but I was going, y'all got some good questions tonight. Y'all must really be interested in this conversation because I seen some real good questions. We're gonna be on here for about 15 more minutes, but yeah, y'all got some good questions. Y'all need to find a way to email Dr. Pookrum or get her books, and y'all need to find a way to make sure y'all make it to this event, whether it's live stream or in person. But wow. This is some interesting stuff. Thank you for that question on the mirror. Whoever asked that question, thank you for that question on the mirror. That was I'm glad you asked that, and Dr. Pookrum said what she said. Let me get to this next question. Peace Priestess wants to know what causes headaches or migraines in the brain.
Oh,
Good question. Oh
wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's a multi-layered answer. A
Yeah.
multi-layered answer.
Okay.
And so again, the brain normally does not like to have to use its own inter nervous system to communicate with itself when the when the chemistry of the anatomy is out of order. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why most people don't have sensations in the brain, because the brain does not like to use its own nervous system to communicate with itself.
Mm.
So when you start having awarenesses in your head that something in the brain obviously is sending out information that you perceive as an awareness
Mm-hmm.
or discomfort, etc., you should pay attention definitely to what is going on, what's happening. And if it is then interpreted as pain, first thing a wise person would do is investigate that discomfort relative to what they've eaten,
Mm-hmm.
what they are breathing, okay, definitely what you are thinking, and what has the body overall been exposed to over the last daylight nightlight cycle, which is a 24-hour cycle based on the clocks that most people live by. So that's what a person needs to do. So
Okay.
usually you can trace it back that there's some chemistry that has been entered into the bloodstream through your digestion or through your smell or through your skin, etc. Or you've seen something that basically the brain is having problems in translating chemically what
Mm-hmm.
it is that you are conscious of. So you definitely got to change that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me. Yeah, you definitely got to become aware of that. So now on the TV, they tell you all about a migraine and a tension headache and all this stuff. That can possibly be the cause of pain, but you then need to pay attention to what is the emotional body doing that is not processing the information at what I call the emotional level that is causing the brain not to be able to make the chemistry that's compatible with its physical structure. That's why you have the discomfort.
Mm,
What is it that you're eating or breathing that is definitely poisonous to the brain tissue right away?
mm,
So these are the questions that we should do a real uh, environmental check
mm,
about what am I exposing to my brain that is giving me this kind of sensation where it has to use its own nervous system to communicate with me.
mm, mm,
So when you see things that you know are not appropriate, etc. For example, an environment where people are smoking
mm,
and you know you don't smoke. So of course, if the brain starts giving you discomfort, you should know why. Because the low oxygen is there, the chemicals that could be emitted from whatever the person is smoking, it's irritating to your brain, which is going to cause brain pain. But we have to look at what you are doing. If you know that there's some things that you don't want to think about, but you know you need to process and you resist the brain from processing what it needs to process, then the chemicals with that resistance, with that impending knowingness that you should be making some decisions or some observations, will also bring about what's known as like a pressure discomfort or pressure pain in the brain. And it comes from basically not handling the decisions and the experiences that you created that are pending for transformation because you've made a decision or learned the knowledge about what it is that that energy is emitting to you. That in your consciousness, what you absorb, you know that.
okay.
So I'm talking to you from this perspective because you know, brother Rich, I don't talk anymore from take this pill, drink this solution, da da
Mm,
da, whatever else, because that still does not allow the individual with the human body, which is here for mastership, to become the master of themselves if
mm,
they don't ask and investigate what their highest and greatest barometer is trying to teach them.
mm,
So it's a barometric reflection and reaction from your greatest meter of your life to take a look at what you're doing. Yeah, people don't recognize that your body is your meter of measuring your life. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Somebody wants to know, can we get into shop even if we couldn't get tickets to the physical event? No, you cannot. Family, if you don't have tickets, please don't come to the event because a lot of the vendors are going to be in the same area as a speaker. So the security will not let you inside. So if you don't have tickets, please do not come to the event. You will be wasting your time, family. Let's get to another question. What? Well, Peace Priestess already asked a question, but I like this question. What part of the brain is activated where someone can see spirits or things of the spirit realm?
Well, I'm taking a little breath on that and thinking about it because the lower circuits of the brain, your reptilian brain, your insect brain, and your avian bird brain all have what I call emotional capabilities that is not three-dimensional. They have an awarenesses that allow you to interact with fields of energy, fields of light that have not materialized yet and become three-dimensional. So therefore, you can be very much in your second circuit insect brain or mammalian, excuse me, your avian brain, and still be able to see other forms of consciousness, life forms that are also not three-dimensional. You'll be aware of that. So you're using the lower circuits of the brain But now the communication, accurate communication with these non-physicalized life forms is the question when you are perceiving them out of the lower circuits of your own brain. When you have developed completely and integrated the lower circuits of your brain, and now you're at the fourth circuit of the brain, the mammalian circuit, the circuit that now interacts with the sensation of what you call your feelings from the heart, the interpretations that you will get from being able to interact with other forms of light that are not physical yet, the information transmitted to you, received by you, will usually be quite accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be concerned about being aware of forms of life that are not physical yet until you know that you're working from your fourth circuit, where there's an attempt to communicate with you, where there's in your language that you understand words that are being said, okay, or images that are being transmitted to you, where you're starting to be telepathic with these life forms. Now that is the fourth circuit of your brain. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it going. Are the eyes parts of the brain that are visible physically?
Oh, now is that the question really? I mean, because that answer is obvious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Think about it. The eyeball is actually the only part of the brain in your head that is exposed to the outer world. Normally, the brain is totally shielded by bone known as your skull. And the only other area that brain is exposed is at the top of the nasal area in the nose. So directly through the nose and directly through the eyeball, you can have direct access to your brain. That's why the use of drugs nasally is very destructive to the brain, as well as obviously most people don't tolerate taking drugs in the eye. Okay, because then they lose the capacity to see clearly. Blah, blah. But yeah, those are the only two areas, and you want to be very selective and sheltering of those areas of direct access to your brain. So I hope that helps you because you do have multiple eyes, but those are not really available to most people or people's awareness until they move into the fifth and sixth circuit of the brain. And then, yes, those eyeballs are not physical, but you can see them through the images that are projected upon the brain tissue. For example, people that, we have quite a few people that can see through their third eye. I have been trained at a school that teaches you how to do that. And to go to this school, you have to do everything in blindfolds. And so by closing permanently your eyelids with mask, if you're going to get around walking in the woods, whatever else, etc., which is where the school is, okay, you have to use what some people call the first eye or the third eye. And it emits and sees through infrared. So
Mm.
everything will always have kind of a reddish, kind of pinkish tinge around them until you can then develop the inner eye, using the higher circuits of the brain. When you can clearly begin to see from the fourth and the fifth circuit of your brain, now you can see in infrared, you can see in ultraviolet blue. Yeah, you can see all these different colors of mass outside, but it's real light frequency.
Mm-hmm.
but you're not using the physical eyes. But
Okay.
you can be trained to do that. Someday soon, I would like to be able to hold classes where I can begin to train people to start using their higher eye vision. Yeah. But you have to agree to be blindfolded to do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be fire. Let's get to the next question. I saved some of these questions. Hold up. All right.
Yeah. Getting
When we
close to our time. We're over time. Okay. Pay attention to the time. Okay.
yeah,
Thank
we
you.
we'll do one more. We'll do one more. You good with one more?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When we transition, does each person go to their own dimension based on their perception of what an afterlife is supposed to be?
Okay. So now we have to look at the words and be clear on the definition. Okay, when you say transition to me in that sentence, what are you saying?
Well, I'm not her. This is sister in the
Oh,
chat, but I'm
oh,
assuming she's saying when we die, what
okay.
we call
So
die.
saying when a person dies, now
Yeah.
what is she asking? What happens at death? Is that what she's asking?
Yes, at death, let me say, at death, does each person go to their own dimension based on their perception of what an afterlife is supposed to be?
Interesting question because, but their perception, what does she mean by the person's perception at death?
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Say, before I die, my vision, because of my religion, I belong to a certain spiritual system where I believe I'm going to see my grandmother, my great grandmother, all my ancestors, and we're going to be happy and we're going to be partying and laughing. And that's what my perception, based on what I was taught of what an afterlife is. Being that I have that perception, do I go there when I pass away, when I die? Because that's where I thought I was going. That's what I thought the afterlife was about.
Okay. The answer to that question is when she talks about going there, what does she actually mean? Because now you will see your thoughts, but now having a physicality in being in those images that you saw, and you haven't earned the right to make that a three-dimensional reality, you will not go there in the third dimension. But in your mind, yeah, you will see everything you think when you then, as you say, transition from no longer having a direct connection to the body that you created and agreed to sustain. So
Mhm,
when you break that covenant, whatever you were thinking, oh yeah, you'll see it as far as uh the structures in your mind, the photons that you've laid out in that uh form. But will they become three-dimensional? Will they take on space? No, they will not.
mhm, mhm.
So
Okay.
that's why it's so important that anything that you're going to want to experience in the third dimension, you have to keep the laws and the agreements of everything that you want to experience in the third dimension to maintain a third dimensional reality, which is the gift
Right,
of the physical body.
right, right, right.
So to learn how to keep it viable in the third dimension means that everything you can envision that you want to experience, you can do that and you will have it that way. But the
Mhm,
key is if you believe in illusions such as time, well, then you destroy your own body because the time for the physical body is based only on light exposure.
mm,
So, what you call daylight and nightlight is the vacillation of the planet that you're on and the brain's function. That's all.
mhm,
And so the most light that we can expose ourselves to is darkness, as you call it. That's
mm,
when you're seeing more of the frequencies of the photons than when you see light.
mhm,
Okay, light, as you call it, we call it in quantum physics visual light, VL. And that's a very small portion of the light that we're always in and exhibiting. And so most of the light that most humans that never really completely develop the brain ever realize and talk about is only visual light frequencies. And there's very few of them relative to full light, cosmic light, which is always to the brain that is not developed, called nighttime.
Indeed.
So to do the greatest evolution, the greatest development, the greatest healing, it's darkness or nighttime or blackness that is where the greatest transformations of the body will occur. So that's why the uterus does not have light in it to form
Mm,
a body. It has to have all of the frequencies to
and
be able to form tissue, right, in darkness.
mm,
Yeah. So
mm,
darkness is when you're in more light than when you're in VL or visual light. Yeah.
excellent. Oh man, I can't wait to see you on August 10th. Once again, family, I advise all of y'all. I don't know how y'all could listen to this talk tonight and not get your live stream ticket to hear this queen talk on August 10th. Go to her website, do whatever you got to do to get her information. But I know that talk is going to be it. That talk is, I could feel it, especially talking to you on the phone and how passionate you are about this conversation of death. This talk that she's giving on August 10th is going to be it. Once again, family, the link is posted in the chat. Dr. Pookrum, what an honor having you on the show tonight. Can't wait to see you in August. Please leave your info before we get out here. Once again, for everybody who wants to get in touch with you, contact you, get some of your product services and everything else.
Okay, well, I do want to say one thing.
Yes.
I will definitely be in the early part of all the presenters, okay, because I shine in the rising of the light on planet Earth.
I can make
Okay.
you first. I'll make you first. I'll let you speak
Okay.
first, Dr. Pookrum. Yeah.
First or second, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Whew,
So for
we
those, yeah. For those,
imagine opening it up with Dr. Pookrum. What the heck? What I'm open. Oh man, go ahead, sis. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's fire. I'm opening with you. Like, come on now, y'all. It's black magic.
okay.
Yes,
I
yes, yeah.
love it.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's important because, when you don't have to die, that is a wonderful thing. And that is what has excited me so much to know that
See,
death
yeah,
is a disease. As much as we love the people that have died of disease known as death, guess what? I am so happy that I'm now contributing to making sure that that doesn't have to happen anymore. So it's kind of like that must have been how the so-called Wright brothers must have felt when they were able to help people fly from point A to point B and not have to walk anymore or ride a horse.
right.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And so now with people finally developing the brain to the extent that all they have to do is just take off. They don't have to get in a plane. They can
Mm-hmm.
just take off because guess what? Gravity is an agreement.
Woo. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Talk
all.
your
Gravity.
talk your
Gra-
ish. Talk
yeah,
your
gravity
wow.
is an agreement. So when you can basically modulate that
Yeah.
agreement, guess what? You naturally levitate.
Shit.
And so if you have a destination to encounter, then with that agreement where gravity is not holding me at this point anymore, you go straight to the place that you've envisioned. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're doing now. That's why they're showing us this in the movies. But the neurophysiology and chemistry is what we have to learn how to create within ourselves by the proper use of our brain and mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to say good night to everybody. Thank you for staying up. Okay,
Hey,
I
Dr.
love
Pookrum,
you.
thank you so much for coming on here, and I will see you in August at the Gathering of the Masters.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm waving at everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Peace, Dr. Pookrum.
Good day.
Oh man, wasn't that wonderful, family? I mean, that was wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful. What a show. You're not going to see Dr. Pookrum do too many lives. So when you see her, it's definitely a treat. It's definitely something we should appreciate. And I hope y'all took notes. And like I said, family, make sure y'all get your live stream tickets because I mean, I got to go back and listen to tonight's show because as a host, I can't get into the show as much as y'all because I'm doing different things. I'm focused on chat and questions and, technology and all this stuff. But I got to go over that one again and really listen to it because that was amazing. That was amazing. Shout out to all y'all in the chat for being present tonight. I see Cafunia. Shout out to Cafunia. Cafunia, you coming to Georgia? I see. You said you coming to Georgia for the conference. I look forward to seeing you. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you. But family, listen, man, listen. Live stream tickets are still available. Do not miss this one. Do not miss this one. Do not miss this one. I'm opening up with Dr. Pookrum. I don't know if Queen of Fool or Sister Myra, but man, that's wow. It's gonna be far, man. I can't. Then Dr. B, Asir, and Yaki Awaken is speaking the next day. Fire. By the way, let me just tell y'all, tomorrow, KT the Arch Degree will be live. We're doing Supercell Decoded. I don't know if y'all seen, and that's right in alignment with what Dr. Pookrum is talking about. We're tapping into these powers that we got that we're not aware of, that we haven't been tapping into. And KT the Arch Degree is going to be doing Supercell Decoded tomorrow. So do not miss that. Wednesday, Yaki Awaken will be on the show. Yaki will be on the show Wednesday. All right. Thursday, Dr. B Serious will be on the show. We celebrate gathering the masses. Listen, I'm having back to back shows this week, y'all. Because it's that time. It's that time. Y'all don't feel energized with everything going on? Distractions at an all-time high. Don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to you. Focus on you. You heard what Dr. Pookrum said about the darkness? And how the darkness contains all the frequencies? You heard what she was dropping? That baby in that dark. Baby can't be in the light, in the sun, the visible light. Like, baby got to be in that darkness. Darkness got all that good stuff in it. Man, what a show tonight. What a show tonight. Man. Wow. Let me just let me see what y'all talking about real quick. What's her contact? Did she leave her contact info? I told her to leave her contact info twice. Yeah, I know she got a website. I'm gonna ask her about the website, but I know she left something. I'm not sure. What did she leave, y'all? What did she leave for the family when yeah, what did she leave? I know she told the family to go to Amazon to get the books. I know she told the she told the family to go to Amazon to get the books, Woo TV said, Brother Rich like DJ Khaled. Yeah, man, yeah. Gotta tap into that, man. It's the excitement level, it's the passion, it's the hype man level. You get hype about things that you are hype about. I'm hype and I'm excited about this information. Oh, shout out to this brother be giving me these AI images. Shout out to that brother. I gotta call that brother back. Brother, I think his name is Mo. I forget your name, brother, but I gotta call this brother back. He be giving me dope artwork. He made the artwork for the commercial in the beginning with Yaki. He made the artwork on that one right there. But no, there's no more in-person tickets. Like I said, family, don't waste your time coming and then you're gonna get upset and you're gonna give some sob story. The family tickets are sold out indoor. Yeah, it's gonna be an event. But for those who did get their tickets, their in-person tickets, you're gonna have the time of your life. It was the investment of a lifetime. It was and I was on here telling y'all, and I'm getting hype, and I was telling y'all, and y'all just like, yeah, I'll get it later. Don't listen to later. When something that you want comes around, Just get it. Don't wait till later. It may not be there later. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, the shirt. Oh, shout out to Dre. Shout out to my brother Dre. He gonna be there. No, this shirt Black Dot. Black Dot's gonna have these at the event. Black Dot Urban X. They did these shirts. And what's the name of their shop? Let me get the name of their shop. Y'all could check out. Let me move my chain so y'all can see it. Let me move my chain so y'all can see it. This fire, y'all. This shirt is fire. It makes me feel so good wearing this shirt. Gathering of the Masses. All right, with the king and the queen there. But Dot will have these at the event. So Dre, you could get yours at the event from Dot, and Dot's and Urban X. Their website is shopurbanx.com. So I'm not sure if he has these on the website, but y'all, he has a lot. They have some of the best gear, conscious gear, if that's what you want to call it. It's really just gear. You know what I'm saying? It's just fly gear. I don't want to put them in the box. It's fly gear. But yeah, so yeah, make sure y'all go to shopurbanx.com. Shout out to Black Dot. But family, once again, just like I told y'all with the in-person tickets, make sure you get your live stream ticket to see the event. I'm warning y'all. Y'all don't. There's some surprises that's gonna be there. You don't want to miss this event. Oh yeah, everybody's gonna get the Discord link. I hope everybody has gotten a Discord link so far who has been who signed up, because I know some people link was expired. So I'm hoping yeah, somebody say are there non-in-person? Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm sharing the link. Oh, I'm not understanding. Do y'all not understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of people have been asking me, like, I'm letting y'all know y'all could see the event on pay-per-view. The live stream tickets are on sale. You could, I'm posting a link in the chat. I don't know, like, I don't get, are y'all not understanding me? Because I seen somebody else say that too. But oh, a lot of people. Okay, shout out to Ascending if Hey Rue, Ascending Infinite Goddess. They're part of the Discord. If y'all join, if y'all get your live stream ticket, y'all could kick it with them. They like the veterans. They like the veterans out here. They've been a part of different fasting groups and different things that I have put together. They came to when I had Club 363. So shout out to Ascending Infinite Goddess. You know, she's one of the 363. You know, she be holding it down. So yeah, make sure if you go to the Discord, if you want some information, Ascending Infinite Goddess, she'll be able to help y'all. She has services of her own. She be doing her thing. So shout out to Ascending Infinite Goddess. All right. All right, let's let me see, just because I'm about to get out of here. Let me just see what y'all talking about before I get out of here. Yeah, Urban X is definitely cooking. Yeah. I've been so energized. Yeah. You know, it's the time we in. You know, it's showtime. You know what I'm saying? It's showtime. You know what I'm saying? I was born specifically for the time that we are in, and it's. I mean, if you had Dr. Jew Pookrum, Sister Myra, Queen of Fua, Dr. B Serious, I say the Duke of Tears, Yaki Awaken, speaking for a weekend, you will be excited too. You will be extremely excited. Like I managed to pull off. This is going to be one of the greatest spiritual conferences ever in the history of our lifetime. In our lifetime, do y'all get that? This is going to be one of the best conferences, spiritual conferences in our lifetime that we have ever witnessed, heard about, seen, experienced. You know, listen to, watch, whatever. This is going to be one of the greatest ones ever in our lifetime. Energy is going to be, you're going to be able to feel it. You're going to be able to, if you're watching it on your computer, you're going to be able to feel it from the screen. It's going to be electrifying. It's going to be, oh man, it's going to be like you was watching Jordan playing in Madison Square Garden when he dropped 55 that time or something, man. It's going to be amazing. Oh, all right. All right. And y'all keep asking the same question. Like, I'm trying to figure, are y'all bots or something? Or something? Like, y'all keep asking the same question. I'm answering them. Like, you don't ask this question 5 times. How you cannot get a physical ticket. I keep answering this. So I'm like, what's going on with y'all? Like, I keep answering the question. There's no more physical tickets. No more. But you can get your online ticket. Let me see what else y'all talking about. Let's make this the making. No, it's not going to be annual. Nah, it's going to lose its luster. And well, I mean, other people do events. Y'all could go to anybody else's event. I'm sure everybody else is going to be doing events on a consistent basis. But for me to put this together, it's a lot of energetically. It takes a lot out of me, and I put a lot of things to the side to dedicate energy, a specific amount of energy for this event. So this is not something I want to do every year. This is something I will want to do every 4 years. To be honest with you, I will probably want to do an event like this every 4 years of this magnitude with bringing the people together. But I mean, like I said, anybody else could bring people together. It just won't be me. I will be doing, I'll be doing other things. Like I got other things already planned for next year. But as far as gathering of the masses, it's something that I will probably, me personally, I would probably do like once every 4 years. Yeah. Yes, there will be food at the event. Yeah, there's gonna be about um 3 food vendors. I got Blue Pill. I got these sisters called Queen's Cuisine. I got these Hebrew sisters. I got these Hebrew sisters called Queen's Cuisine, and they got amazing food. So they're gonna be there. Blue Pill's gonna be there. Then I think a brother from Philly. I think a brother from Philly's gonna be there. Has I gotta talk to Has. I don't. Yeah, I gotta talk to Has. So, all right. Um. Yeah. Brother is going on. Let me see. I got one. Yeah, I see people saying they got physical tickets. Beware of people who say they got physical tickets. I don't know what level of scamming is going on out there. I don't want anybody to get scammed. There's actually a sister I gotta talk to. There's a couple of people I gotta call. You just reminded me. All right. Listen, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it for tonight. Will you do a few more questions? Yeah, I will do. I'm gonna do a question ticket giveaway tomorrow. And shout out to the sister who won the last ticket. I still gotta reach out to you. Don't worry, I will. We got plenty of time before the event. What's her name? I got it written down somewhere. Don't think I forgot about you. I don't see your name right now. Oh man, yeah, I don't see the sister name right now. Let me see if I see a name. She might be watching. Like, nigga, where my ticket at? Yeah, I don't see her name right now. But yeah, I'll do a ticket giveaway tomorrow. I have a ticket to give away that was donated. So I'm gonna do one. Like I said, KT's gonna be on live tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We're gonna be doing the Supercell Decoded. All right. All right. With that being said, we're getting out of here. Thank you so much, family. Make sure you support Dr. Pookrum. Very important. Support Dr. Pookrum. Her books are on Amazon. Google her name, and I think her website should come on. But yeah, she's gonna be at the event August 10th and 11th. She's gonna be vending. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. Shout out to everybody who invested in themselves and got tickets. With that being said, I'm getting out of here, fam. We it's gonna be a lit week. It's gonna be Black Magic 363 is gonna be lit all week because we're celebrating the event. We're leading up to the event. Like I said, I got surprises this week. You're gonna see Dr. B. You're gonna see a lot of people pop up on the platform this week. We going back to back to back to back to back. You know what I'm saying? And we just gonna be doing our thing. We're gonna have a good time. We're not getting distracted. We're focusing on ourselves. We're focusing on raising our consciousness, making an impact, leaving a legacy. For our family and our loved ones. With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow, right, family? Y'all take care of yourselves. Everybody have a good night. Peace.